up? Facebook, YouTube, Myspace, wherever you're tuning to me on. It is the man that is always 2 steps ahead, trying to make the next move to improve. This is the Mind of Music. Thank you very much for tuning into my broadcast today. Today is Friday. It is May 29th, and that is Encouraging Word Day. I am going to do this encouraging word slightly different on today. The reason being is because of something that I saw that was in the news. Some of you actually may know about this particular news broadcast that was put out on, I believe it's on Wednesday, that this particular news broadcast was put out. And let me get this out of the way real quick, because somebody's probably going to leave a comment about it. This is not a butterfly collar, okay? I don't want to hear any questions about butterfly collar, Marvin. Why are you going back to the 70s doing a hustle? And I ain't, no, please, come on. I just got the shirt open. That's just what I felt like dressing like today, okay? But anyway, listen, I want to give this encouraging word, and I'm kind of being all serious into this. There was a story in which came out regarding Bonnie Sweeten. And Bonnie Sweeten, basically, well, you know what, rather than read the story, let me just give you the rundown of what happened. Bonnie Sweeten, age 38, I believe it was, yeah, Bonnie Sweeten, age 38, she basically abducted her own daughter and took her to Disney World. But let me give you the ins and outs of the story. She basically made a phony call to Philadelphia police saying that she had been abducted, basically carjacked by 2 black men who had run into the back of her SUV with their Cadillac, stuffed her and her daughter in the trunk. Later on that day, they found Bonnie Sweeten through a surveillance camera that she was in Disney World. Now, Bonnie Sweeten, apparently, all of the facts haven't come out yet, but they believe that there was some type of domestic issue going on with her current husband. Her daughter was not the biological child of her current husband. It was of her former husband. Bonnie Sweeten's daughter is now in the custody of her former husband, the child's biological father, and she's in custody. The reason that I'm bringing this up is because I particularly find this type of behavior, I find this very deplorable. I find this deplorable on a couple different fronts. One, because of the simple fact that the child, I don't want to really say abducted, because, you know, she did have the right to take her child to Disney World because that is her child. Obviously, the main issue that I have with the problem with this is the fact of her lying about being abducted. But even more deplorable about that is the manner in which it was gone about. It seems to be very commonplace in today's society that the common vernacular in which we choose to use if someone is being carjacked or burglarized, we like to say that it's someone that's black. We remember this case from several years ago with a woman that drowned her children in the car, saying that she was carjacked by a black man. Now, before any of my Caucasian viewers are getting ready to turn this off, thinking I'm getting ready to make a fight the power speech, I'm not. Trust me, it's not. It's not even that type of party, okay? But I find this deplorable behavior because of the fact of the way that society views the black race, quite frankly. I find this very deplorable because it seems to be such a common thing. You know, it couldn't have been 2 Hispanic men, or 2 white men, or 2 Asians. It had to be 2 black men and a Cadillac. Now, obviously, we know this was false. Now, what does this have to do with my encouraging word for the day? I'm glad you asked. You know, I'm not even going to give a specific scripture for this, but historically speaking, after Jesus Christ was born, and after he walked this earth, and after he died on the cross, and after he rose again, and the disciples at that time, who now had become the apostles, they were taught under Jewish law that there was a separation between them and the Samaritans, or the Gentiles, those that were basically not of the Jewish faith. And basically that's an early form of racism right there. Now, I'm not going to get too deep into this, but what I am going to do is I'm going to kind of prove a point with this. There was a point in which was made in the Bible when, I'm not even sure of the particular scripture, but I'm going to try to find it. I'm going to put that at the bottom of the screen for you, in which Peter had seen a vision from the Lord. and he took food and he put food before him and asked Peter to eat of it. And the food in which was put before him, according to Jewish tradition, was considered unclean. And he said, "Lord, I've not eaten anything that's unclean." And Jesus spoke back to him and said, "Don't take what I have made clean and call it unclean." And this happened over and over again. And what actually happened was there was a mighty miracle that took place with some Gentile believers. Now, what I'm trying to say through this is that they had been looked upon, the Gentiles now, because of them not being of Jewish faith, they had been looked at negatively. They had been looked at as lower than, or base, or lowly, because of what they had been taught to believe. But what God was trying to bring through Jesus Christ and what he did in his blood sacrifice was to bring a unity there between these two races. Now, why am I bringing this fact up? I'm bringing this fact up, and this is because of this is the encouraging word to you today. How many prejudices do you have out there? Now, I want you to really think about this, and don't nobody get an attitude and get their, one on his shoulders. I want you to really think about this. Black people, how many white friends do you have? How many friends out there that you have that are of a different race, and when you get around them, you treat them differently because of this color of their skin? To my Caucasian viewers, how many of us do you get around and suddenly change your demeanor, change your conversation, merely because of what you see here on the outside? Because I'll be honest with you, when you cut each and every one of us open, we all look the same. Every last one of us. We all look the same. Dr. King gave a very brilliant speech, and I love the words in which he used, that he wished that his children would be brought up in an era that they would be judged not by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character. You realize that the content of your character has absolutely nothing to do with the amount of melanin content in your skin. So this is my encouraging word to you without getting too preachy. What I want you to do today is find those white, those Hispanic, those Asian people that you have to deal with every day, and examine your life. Examine how you treat them. Do you treat them differently because of something that they have absolutely no control over? i.e. the color of their skin, i.e. their nationality? Do you treat them any differently because of that? Or do you treat them the same as anyone else that is of your race as well? That's my challenge to you today, and that's my encouraging word. Because you know what? That's the way that God intended for us to treat them. Everyone the same. Everyone. Not looking at the color of their skin, not looking at their nationality, but looking at who they are as a person, the content of their character. That's going to be my encouraging word. And like I'm going to tell you, like I always tell you, you can hit me up on YouTube, which is www.youtube.com/musicofmarvin, which is my personal YouTube site. Has all of my musical performances, the Mind of Music broadcasts, things of that nature. You can look me up on Facebook, which you're probably looking at me on now, under Musicman Lewis. You can also find me on Myspace under The Mind of Music. And last but not least, you can look me up on twitter.com/Musicman Lewis. Thank you very much for continuing to support my broadcast. Thank you very much, because I know you all are going to have a wonderful weekend, as I am going to have. And join me back again Monday for the Monday movie review. Like I always tell you, take care, people. Be safe and wait for another opportunity to get into the mind of music. Take care, and God bless.